Okay, 4.2, very similar to what we did yesterday. Only difference is now we're doing decay. And remember, the general shape of decay looks like that. Of course, that's unless it's flipped over the x-axis, if it's negative. But otherwise, that's your general shape of an exponential decay graph. So, hopefully this will be a little bit faster because I'm not gonna show the calculator work. You know how to do that already. So we're just gonna fly into it. If I take and enter this into the calculator, or I can calculate it by hand, 1/2 to the x. If I plug in -3 for x, once again, that's going to flip it. That's going to be 2 to the 3rd. So that's going to give me 8. And then 4, 2, 1. Something special about that point. Think about what that is. 1 is 0.5, 2 is 0.25, and 3 is 0.125. If these numbers seem familiar, they should from 4.1. It's going the opposite direction. So when we did 2 to the x, and we had -3, our answer was 0.125. And -2 was 0.25. And basically it's the same numbers, just the opposite direction. Which makes sense because 1/2 and 2 are inverses. Therefore, when we're going with decay, they're the same numbers, just different direction. So -3 is going to give me +8. -2 is going to give me +4. -1 is 2. 0 is 1. And now we get into the closer and closer to 0. And so our graph looks something like that. And even though that looks like it's hitting 0, it is not. And remember, that is our force field. So there's a sonic fence here, force field, something like that. And so what's happening is it cannot touch that. It never will hit 0. Domain. Once again, it's going left forever, and it's going right forever. Remember, domain is left and right. Range is your up and down. So how low does it go? 0. How high does it go? Towards positive infinity. Once we know the range, we know our asymptote. That is that special line, y equals 0. And the y-intercept, remember how I said this was special earlier? Anytime x is 0, that's our y-intercept, 0, 1. Okay, next one, 1/10. -3 is going to be 1,000. Not going to graph that. Then 100, not that either. Then we have 10, 1, 0.1, 0.01, and 0.001. So not a lot of points we can get here. -1 gives me 10. 0 gives me 1. And then we get into, I can't even draw it close enough to the force field. There we go. All right. So once again, there's our force field at 0. Will not hit. So domain hasn't changed. -infinity to positive infinity. The range, pretty much the same thing. How low does it go? It's not hitting 0. And it's going up towards positive infinity forever. Which leads us to our asymptote. Where's that horizontal line? Where's the force field? At 0. And the y-intercept actually is the same one. 0, 1. So very similar to what we did in 4.1, just going a different direction. Okay, the group discussion questions, unlike yesterday, in the notes, I'm going to leave these blank, and we're going to talk about them in class. But I would like you to think about these questions and be ready to discuss them in class, please. Okay, this is the same thing from 4.1, our transformations. think about what A, H, and K do. Okay, this A changes how wide or narrow it is, how fast it climbs. This is going to move it left or right, and this is going to move it up or down. If you want to fill that in to remind yourself, get used to thinking about what these do. So A makes it wider or narrower, H left or right, and K up or down. So, example 2, A, nothing. Okay? Hasn't changed, so no change. H is -3, so it's right 3. Remember, it goes the opposite direction of what we would think. And then K is 5, or +5, so it goes up 5. Okay, this time we do have an A. It is 3. That is going to make it narrower. It's going to climb faster. H is, H is 2, and so therefore it is going to move left 2. Opposite of what we think. And K, -4, that is going to move it down 4. And remember, K is going to change the asymptote. So like on this first one, the asymptote would be y equals 5. Here, the asymptote would be y equals -4. That's where that sonic fence goes. A. Now this time we have a -1 out there. Okay, that doesn't make it wider or narrower. In this case, it flips it over x axis. Okay, it flips it over the x-axis. H is -6, so it's going to go right 6. And K is +8, so it's going to move it up 8. Once again, the asymptote would be located at y equals 8 for that one. Going a little bit faster on this one because it is pretty much the same as 4.1 plus 4.1 is kind of long, so if you need to, you can always pause and rewind. Okay, now we got everything going on. We got A, H, and K. So I'm going to put some numbers in here. Now the reason I'm starting at 0 here is because I typed this into the calculator and I looked at it, and if I started at like -3, the numbers are just huge and off the chart. So I'm going to start at 0. So 0 is off the chart anyway, it's at 25, but it's the smallest one. 1 is going to give me 7, 2 will give me 1, 3, -1, 4 is going to be -1.6 repeating, 5 is going to be -1.8 repeating, and 6 is going to be -1.96, almost -2. It's going to keep getting smaller and smaller, but never hit -2. That number here tells us our asymptote. That tells us where the force field is going to be. The force field is going to be right here at -2. You know that already. You could even draw that in another color or even the same color, whatever, if you wanted to remind yourself that that's going to be the asymptote. If I put in, if you look at the calculator, it's 7 and 8 and 9, it's going to be -1.989. You know, it's going to keep getting smaller, closer and closer to 2, but never hit it. In fact, if you do this in the calculator, go down and look at 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 20, and see how the decimal never hits -2. So 0 is somewhere up here at 25. 1 is going to give me 7. 2 is going to give me 1. 3, -1. 4, now we're getting to -1.6. It's going to just keep getting closer. So once again, it's hard to draw this. Just kind of paint that line. And even though 25 is off the chart, I definitely want to include 0 for an x because that's my y-intercept. The domain, nothing different. Always left, always right forever. The range, once again, our asymptote, we said, is -2. So therefore, it's from -2 upwards to positive infinity. And remember, it's a parentheses, not a bracket, because it never touches -2. And last but not least, looking at the calculator, and yes, I use the calculator too. I'm going to start at -5. Numbers look good there. And that's going to yield -8, -2, 1, 2.5, 3.25, 3.625, and 3.825. Notice how it's getting really close to 4. It's never going to hit 4. Why? Because that's my asymptote. Y equals +4. That's where the force field is. Right there. Not going to hit it. So, -5, -8. Why am I starting down here? Because this negative out here is flipping it upside down. -4, -2, -3, +1, -2, +2, -1, 3.25, 0, 3.625, and then we're just going to get closer and closer to that force field and just skate along. So once again, what's the domain? Same thing, -infinity to +infinity. The range, now, this time we're doing infinity first because we always start with how low does it go? Well, it's going towards -infinity forever. How high does it go? 4, non-inclusive. And my y-intercept? Right there, 0, 3.625. That's it. Nice and easy.